get an elephant out of the room. Have you decided on a starting rotation for this weekend?
Yeah, we have. We've gone. We're going to go. I think it's Sanford, Clark, Scolari, and Featherston will be who we open with. And then on the doubleheader, I'm not too sure on the order of who pitches what game or whatever, but that'll be the four.
Just with Sanford getting the ball on the first day, what are your expectations for him in his second year and just sort of his development over the offseason?
Just to continue what he's done, what he showed us. He's pitched really well. His stuff has improved. Just everything that he's been able to roll out there. Like we didn't just pitch him on. We're not going to pitch him on game one just because we had a contract demand with him or something like that. That's not the case. I mean, the kid earned it, and so my expectation is for him to just go out there and pitch the way he's pitched that we've seen him, in fall scrimmages and spring scrimmages, which has been really elite.
Back right, Brett.
Two other guys in Colin and Ryan. Just what have you seen in their progress this offseason? They obviously got some good quality starts last season that gave them some great opportunities. Have you seen them take that to the next level heading into this opening weekend as well?
Yeah, I mean, kind of same answer. I mean, those four kids that are, there's a lot of other kids that have been doing a really good job too. The pitching staff appears to be an area of strength and with some depth and improvement for sure. Coach Florid's done a nice job. Dan Straley's on our staff as well, who's added. And it just seems like there's been a lot of development. Throwing a ball over the plate, quality stuff. Use of tech and analytics is part of that piece. But at the end of the day, it's kind of just old school, a little bit of the old school mixing with that just says, are you getting them out? Are you getting them out? Throwing the ball over the plate, weak contact, putting the ball in play versus, walking guys or hitting guys or whatever, free bases. And those guys have just done a nice job of with their stuff and their development and their game management. A lot of the boxes they're checking, and that's why they're getting the ball as starters on the weekend.
Right here, Isaac. 2 questions.
Scolari's gotten a lot of burn kind of on the pro scouting side. I'm curious what you made of him, what the objective was when you guys brought him in, and what stood out to you.
Pitched for Coach Flora at University of San Diego. Was a kid that had an arm surgery, years ago. And, so it's taken him a while to get back to full strength. Went off, pitched in Cape Cod League this summer to help his, progression. He'd been on a progression schedule. He's clear. He's totally clear now. He's big, strong kid, really good arm. And it's been exciting to have. Why'd we go on him? I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. Everybody went on him. it doesn't take a genius to figure out the guy throws really hard. His breaking stuff is really good. He throws the ball over the plate. Appears to be a real competitor. Looks like a Friday guy. I kind of went with between him and Clark and some of these guys. It's like, who's better? I don't know right now. They've all pitched really well. It's just I guess you could probably split the game with 2 of them on Friday and just say, hey, you're both starting. Just the second starter comes in the 5th or whatever, or the 6th. But and we might even actually kind of do that with some of the way the others have thrown the ball and split a game to where there actually looks like there's 2 guys that are starting the game and just the second guy comes in the 5th or 6th inning. So, it seems like there's some options Coach Flores developed with Coach Straley as well, and it's been fun to watch their progress.
And, Sanford's stuff was obviously super apparent. The strikeout numbers were pretty crazy for his innings pitched. I'm curious, what did it take to really rein in, some of the kid man stuff that he struggled with in regards to walks and the hit by pitches?
I don't know. We haven't seen any of that stuff this fall and spring at all. We've seen, I think, from a mechanic standpoint, he would probably even tell you he wasn't as solid as he wanted to be at one point last year. This year, it seems like his mechanics are in sync, and he's thrown the ball really well. He's been able to command it, and he's been able to command multiple pitches that are all really, his stuff is elite. It's good.
Right here, Ian.
Coach, the bullpen now features new faces and some returners from last year. How do you like how that group has came together as we approach Friday?
Yeah, kind of college baseball now, right? A lot of new guys, and you get some returners, and you get a lot more new guys in college sports these days. But yeah, the new guys and the returners. It just seems like there's more depth when you go 1 through, let's call it 15, and you probably even go further than that. But 1 through 15, there was a time, and probably when I was an assistant coach a lot, where, you really only rolled out 8 guys, and things have really changed a lot with just training of pitchers and expectations, number of innings, all that kind of stuff, as you've seen in pro ball as well. A quality starts basically going 2 times through the order nowadays in pro baseball. As soon as they get the 3rd time through the order, they're going to the pen. And there's a lot of veterans that are pissed about that, as you saw in the playoffs with a couple of guys that let their managers know that they disagree with that theory. And they're usually the older players. The older players, they were taught start and finish it. If you started it, finish it. And so I really respect those old guys. They're coming from a different cloth. It's a different time. There's more guys that pitch. And so to have more depth to where you can go 1 through 15 and you've got quality options, or even further than that, that's really important. We did a study, and one of the studies that we did, it yielded that, of all the programs that are in the top 50 in college baseball, in the last 5 years, those programs all threw 17 to 18 guys that threw 10 or more innings on each one of those staffs. And that would be exceptionally rare. As of 7 years ago, there was that number, instead of being 17, was only 11 or 12. And so, just sign of the times, things have changed. And so we got to adapt to it. And it looks like we've got more depth, especially in that bullpen. And hopefully we show that in our first opportunities this weekend.
Middle second row, Tyson.
In today's college baseball, it's nothing new to have an arm on your staff who's had Tommy John before. But I'm curious, when you bring in a guy like Scolari who had that his senior year of high school and then was at a different school afterwards, when you bring in a guy who maybe you haven't been around his recovery history of that and his baseline, just what sort of evaluations and kind of assessments do you have to do on a power throwing arm like that who has that sort of history?
The advantage of that case is that you got Matt Flora who was with him. And so, you pretty much go, hey, Coach Flo, what's this guy all about? And he tells you. And so you get that advantage. If you don't have that advantage, you talk to him. You just kind of find out what's worked for him, what hasn't worked. Keith Meister, it seems like he does any of the procedures that are out there in pro and college sports these days. He happens to be a really good friend of mine, and so I can have conversations with him and get his opinions. And then Cody Peterman's really, really good at what he does when it comes to athletic training and medicine side here at Oregon. And so just with a connection with all those pieces, I think you get a real good idea about where the kid's at with his arm recovery, how confident he is with stretching a guy out maybe. And yeah, it is commonplace now. The kids are going to get injured for whatever reasons. It's happening, and we can debate that all day. But really, the facts are that injuries are up, and so you better have a really good medical staff and a really good feel for where those kids are at, to where the injury happened, but you can hopefully come back from that as quickly as the medical people allow.
All right, Al.
Really simple question, but what do you want to see from your team this weekend and just the first couple weeks of the season?
I want to play hard. I want to be on them to be on time at the plate, and I want them to play ready defense to where they're in rhythm with every single pitch. I think if they do that positionally, I think they'll be really successful. On the mound, I want to see them be aggressive, stay within themselves on the mound, and I think if they do that, they're going to be really successful.
Right here, Isaac.
In the state of college athletics and kind of what's happened with Alabama men's basketball recently, is there any concern amongst college baseball coaches that, maybe kids who left school early for the draft or, went and signed initially in pro ball out of high school, is there any concern that those guys could, sign and come back and pursue NCAA eligibility?
First part of the question, I'm totally in the dark of whatever happened with Alabama basketball, I think you said. I don't follow it. I don't know. If it ever came to a place where a kid could sign pro and come back to college, which is not the case right now, but if that ever got to a point, I don't know. I haven't wrapped my head around that concept. That's a foreign one to me. I mean, obviously it seems like there'd be more talent in your game, but then you'd question pro sports versus college sports, and you can already question whether we're actually professional coaches or college coaches nowadays. It seems like a lot of times we're pro coaches in a college venue. They're going to school, but we're still in somewhat of a hybrid model, let's call it. I love the hybrid model. I think it's great. People bitch about it all the time. I don't care. I think it's whatever they allow us to do within the rules. Let's do it, and let's try to win a national championship.